Welcome back to Appliance Educator. Today we're going to go over refrigeration, what to look for before you buy a refrigerator, and how to plan accordingly to purchase a refrigerator that you are going to love for years to come. So the first thing you want to do is pretty obvious with a refrigerator, is measure the opening of your space. You're going to want to measure the width, the height of the opening, also the depth that you're going to want for your refrigerator. Most counters in the US are 25 inches deep. Most refrigerators come between like 26, even up to 36 inches deep. This one here is 29 inches deep. However, keep in mind about the back of the refrigerator, because you won't have it installed flush against the wall. It will be sticking out a little bit to allow for all the cords and everything in the back to have space and room to breathe. So the first thing you want to do is measure your width, your height, and your depth. There are two major styles of refrigerators when you're looking to purchase one. The first one is the most common one, which will have the doors and everything already installed on it. The other one is called panel ready. A panel ready refrigerator is one that comes with bare doors, and then you'll have either a cabinet maker install cabinets onto the doors to match your cabinetry around it, or have a custom door made for it. Some manufacturers even have additional door options for their panel ready refrigerators. The main refrigerators, there are four styles. You're going to have a top freezer, a bottom freezer, side by side, which is half refrigerator, half freezer, or you're going to have a French door. So this one's a French door. We have freezers down below and the two doors for the refrigerator above. When looking at different brands, I won't go too in depth into the different brands, but I will be covering some of the major brands and some of the ones that we have looked at and researched and love the most. But one thing you'll want to do is research different brands, pick three that you like. The three main brands that we have researched and are some of the best is Kitchenaid. It has the best aftermarket service that they provide compared to other brands. GE is also really good and has a lot of aftermarket service, and Beko is really good because of the features that they offer within there. Other brands like Bosh is really good. They manufacture their own refrigerators. Some will actually outsource to have other companies manufacture them for them. One thing to consider, every kitchen is different, and depending on where you live and what brand you're looking for, if you want to go the extra mile, you might want to call a few different groups of service teams to find out which brands they service in your area and which brands they don't service in your area. Samsung is a really popular brand, but it's also notorious for having really bad aftermarket service. Some areas they don't even service at all, so you will be without any help when it comes to having a service done for your refrigerator. And a refrigerator is a major appliance, so it's kind of an investment in your kitchen. When researching different brands of refrigerators, one thing you want to look at is how many compressors it has versus how many evaporators it has. What that correlates to is really the air from the freezer remaining separate from the air in the refrigerator. Some brands use only one compressor and one evaporator, meaning that the air is shared between the two and just filtered. That is not ideal with any refrigerator. You want to make sure that they're separate air systems. Bosch actually has two compressors in their refrigerators. They've kind of pioneered that over the years. So the refrigerator has its own compressor and the freezer has its own compressor as well. Other brands will have one compressor and two evaporators. So the refrigerator will have its own evaporator as well as the freezer, and that also keeps the air separate. That is something you'll have to reach out to the manufacturers or go to the websites and find out the exact specs that they have for those. We are going to have a blog that will cover all of these appliances, the different manufacturers and brands that we prefer, more in depth, so you can look at those as well. One thing to consider about refrigerators is 1 in every 4 refrigerators that is purchased needs to have at least one service done in the first 5 years. So it's really important to call ahead and find out which brands offer the best service plans, extended warranties, or which brands partner with really good warranty companies. That's something to consider. Kitchenaid is pretty common to have really good aftermarket service, but as far as they go, Kitchenaid and Samsung have had similar amounts of service calls within the first year of their product being released. GE and Bosch are actually the lowest when it comes to service calls. So they are a little bit more reliable compared to that. Although they are more expensive than, say, Kitchenaid, but they come with a lot less issues. So we've covered measuring the actual size that you'll need for the refrigerator, width, height, and depth. Depth can vary depending on your situation and the flow within the kitchen. So if you have a really deep refrigerator, just keep in mind that it'll be sticking out into your kitchen and those doors will open. So if you have like a French door, you'll have less doors that open inside because they're smaller. If you have a single door, that big door will open up into your kitchen. So those are things to consider when buying an appliance. Another thing to consider with refrigeration is cubic feet. How much cubic feet a refrigerator can hold. Generally, they're around 22 up to 31 cubic feet, anywhere in between, give or take a couple feet. That will determine really the space in there that you can utilize. Really popular brands will have around 28 cubic feet on the high end, and more cubic feet, you'll be spending more money to get that purchase. Other brands will have a much smaller cubic feet within the refrigerator, which will allow for a tighter space to be used. If you have a really big refrigerator but small cubic feet, keep in mind that might have some issues due to the insulation inside there, and it's not utilizing the space properly. And finally, one thing to consider when buying a refrigerator is if it has an ethylene gas filter. Ethylene gas is just the gas that spoiled foods release, and that food can cross-contaminate other food and spoil it as well. Some refrigerators, some manufacturers of refrigerators have filters throughout their compartments so that if something goes bad, it won't leach out into everything else within the refrigerator and freezer and make it spoil as well. So that's a really good feature to have in a refrigerator is ethylene gas. A lot of refrigerators will have tons of bells and whistles as far as like Wi-Fi, cameras inside, and those are really hard to determine the difference between a gimmick and an actual gadget. Usually the more expensive they are, the more reliable they tend to be when those are concerned. If it's a much cheaper fridge, but it has those gadgets, they might wear out or break down faster because they've used far cheaper parts. Bosh has a really neat fridge that actually has a glass door that you can knock on, turn a light on, and you can see what's inside the fridge. Other ones, it just really depends on if you want to have your fridge be connected to your phone all the time, or if you want to have an LCD screen here so you can play video games on it for whatever reason. Me personally, I prefer much more minimalist appeal. A fridge like this is certainly my aesthetic. Thanks again for watching. I hope this video has given you enough tools to go out and find the perfect refrigerator for your kitchen. If you have any questions or concerns about the video or any information that I put forth, please leave a comment down below. If you want to see future videos specifically about something regarding your situation or an appliance that we haven't covered yet, please, again, leave a comment down below. Thanks again for watching.